Order, please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, we are getting ready for some construction in the library windows, so it's a little packed in tonight. If you'd like to sign up to speak to the board, go ahead and sign in. Any announcements? Okay, we're gonna move on to the Leads Award. Superintendent Second.
Thank you very much. Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight, we honor Mount Angel School District students for excellence. The Leads Award exemplifies the best of what our students offer to their peers, their school, and their community. LEADS, or LEADS, stands for L, leadership, contributions in and for the student body or the school and or representation of the school at events. E, effort, short or long-term improvement in individual practices. A, achievement, unique skills the student represents for the school or demonstrates in the school. D, diversity and inclusion, contributions that increase practices of inclusion for all students in the school and school district. And finally, S, service, contributions in and for the community and or the school. Tonight, we recognize one student from each school who has demonstrated one or more of the LEADS characteristics. Each student stands out as a model of excellence for others. Tonight, each building principal will share with us what is unique about the student. And we're going to start tonight with Mrs. Brendan from the high school. Yeah. Stephanie, can you come on up, please?
Like a maze.
Yeah. All right.
Our Leads Award winner for JFK is Stephanie Cardenas Ortiz in the category of leadership. And her nominators say this about her. There are two nominators. Stephanie carries her leadership with care and love for others in unique ways. For example, during the holiday season, she didn't ask, "What can I do to help?" to a staff member that was helping families. She said, "When can I go shopping for you? And what time do you need me here to help?" It was just really helpful help. She wanted to make sure all families in need were taken care of. She even started to brainstorm some ideas for next year. She's taken the initiative to make posters letting students know what the requirements are for graduation, graduation and then graduating with honors. She volunteers for parent evening nights. For achievements, she's great with peers, classes, and running. This kind of running, cross-country track. She likes to hide what she does, and that's the most refreshing to see at her age. That's what one nominator said. Another nominator said this: Stephanie has a consistently positive attitude, achieves at a very high rate, helps out with activities, and makes the school a more enjoyable place to be. So thanks, Stephanie. Please join me in congratulating.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Zoom real quick. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
So fortunately, still have 2 minutes and say wonderful things about you. This is Savannah Boxler, and she would qualify under many categories, as you will hear. But we're going to talk about achievement this evening. This is written by, there were many teachers that nominated. This was written very like, hey, I need a paragraph done. Your teachers love you. I love the work that you do. Over the 3 years that Savannah has been a student in Mount Angel Middle School, she has been a true leader and an exemplary role model. Savannah contributes to her school community in many ways. She is a 3-sport athlete. She is a member of the band, quite an accomplished one, by the way. She serves as a valued member of the leadership team. Savannah is polite, positive, respectful, and inclusive of all students. She takes great pride in her academics, ranking among the top in her class. We at Mount Angel Middle School have loved watching her grow into the amazing young lady that she is today. We all know that she will continue to lead by example and accomplish great things at Kennedy High School next year. If you would, please help me in celebrating.
Mrs. French is not here this evening, so I am going to try and bravely, confidently take her place up here and ask Trinity to please come up and join me. Trinity Garner is a deserving recipient of the Lees Award in the area of effort. She's a kind, warm-hearted young lady with an abundance of energy and passion. The effort she has exuded this year to see herself as a successful student is obvious to so many. She's grown academically because she has evolved into a persevering student choosing to practice a growth mindset. Trinity has improved in self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. All of her efforts have led to a successful 5th grade year. It has been such a joy to watch her grow and learn while believing she can do hard things. Thank you for being a wonderful student at St. Mary's this year, says Mrs. Green. Congratulations.
We're gonna have
Please.
her go up. You, right, we'll attempt to get a group photo with the board over by that black bulletin board. Okay. You gotta look at me first. Then you click. Right. Karen, do your thing. My goodness, is that? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, families, for attending. You don't have to stay the whole time. You're more than welcome to leave if you would like. JFK High School leadership. Last presentation.
This feels weird,
Let's go by quick, huh?
really fast. So first off, at the banquet last month, they was the 2024-2025 officers. It was a really good banquet overall. On Monday, several Mount Angel officers attended the Silverton School Board meeting to show support for the Silverton chapter during the Silverton ongoing budget cuts with programs and classrooms and everything. And so that was was really good for Silverton to see our support there. For FBLA, they've been doing so much fundraising for their trip to Orlando. I know they've been doing sales from the Burger Time food truck. They've been going to businesses' doors in Mount Angel to ask for donations. And I think they're planning like bingo nights too. So that's really exciting. And then for ASB, the new leaders were elected. Stephanie Cardenas is the president. So that's really great for her. I'm really happy. And field day at the high school, it was so much fun. There was like, it was so much fun, and but I think there was even more water. We had like 2 water slides. People were getting dunked with water. We had water guns. It was just so much, and like everyone actually participated. So it was really great to see like everyone having fun. We also had snow cones from Burger Time, so that made it even better. And we also had like slime making in the library. And I do have a little letter for everyone, so I'm gonna start reading it now. It says, "Dear Mount Angel School Board and community members, as all of you know, there will be a new school board representative next month, and this is my last meeting as the current representative. It has been a pleasure for the past year to work with everyone. I admire the hard work and time everyone here puts into the community. Recently, I have taken the opportunity to enroll as a full-time student in college at the Ventura campus in Southern California while simultaneously finishing my last year of high school. I believe it is the best opportunity to fully amplify myself and allow myself to really emerge into an adult. And while that horizon of like this amazing new adventure is like super, super exciting, it's not gonna come without the bittersweetness of leaving Mount Angel. And I've been here ever since kindergarten. This community has taught me so many value principles such as like respect, honesty, and compassion for other people. Every like time I like pop into teachers' rooms in the morning to have my morning talk with them, or every like classified staff I go and bug every day, and every lunch lady that I have like a 5-minute conversation with them in the lunch line. Like I really enjoy that, and I think that it's small communities like this that the school has to tie itself into the community. I think that's really great, and I'm just really happy to be part of this community while I could. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything.
Yeah. Reed, you've been a great asset to the board. Your words have been outstanding, your input as well. And yes, Mount Angel's gonna miss you, but definitely come back.
I will.
And if you need anything in future, please, I'm sure anybody up here would gladly support you in any way that we can.
Thank you.
And we got you something as well. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Reed, for everything.
And I don't think Jung could make it because he's taking care of Neil family.
Yes, yep, he's unable to make it tonight, and we will talk more about who our new student rep is later in the meeting as well. So thanks, Reed, for reaching out to him as well. Appreciate that and your support there. All right, Washington DC trip.
Give an intro to these fabulous photos. Come on up.
We did practice.
Yeah, you got it. I don't know if I can. Sure. All right, so I asked your permission a few months ago for these fine gentlemen and lady to go to Washington DC. The trip was paid for by Willamette ESD with our migrant funds. I think it cost us a total of about $200 to send all of these guys to Washington DC for a little over a week. And so they are going to share a slideshow with you all about their really, really amazing trip. I got to have a little peek along the way. And I think, Jordy, were you elected to be the speaker? Okay, so if you guys want to spread so they can see your pictures.
So this is inside Capitol Hill. This is Julio meeting John Deshler's.
Yeah.
John Deshler's son, and at the Capitol Hill, and this is at the.
Julio maybe can help you.
Yeah, we help you out.
It was one of the memorials, we went up, I asked to take a group photo. And we were at the Washington Memorial. It's really, is. When you're standing in the area, you just get a sense of what, you know. What it could have been, you know, so going into Washington.
So this is us taking a group photo at the Iwo Jima Memorial. And this is us at another memorial, and up here is me, Margarito, and Julio. We took a picture together holding the Washington DC flag at the mall. And then this is us. Oh.
In the last photo where we're staying with three military people, they were EOTs. All of them had a combined like experience of, I think, 60, 70 years in the military, all high ranking. They were there for, I believe it was Bomb on Capitol Hill Day, where a bunch of military EODs meet and talk about like bombs and whatnot.
And this is us at the Washington Memorial. We took a group photo. I don't know why I might have decided like. But yeah, this was we had a blast there. We also went to like the gift shop, but we couldn't get tickets that day to go all the way up. And this was our last day in Washington. We went to a bunch of places. I took a picture of Julio at the memorial, went to Metros. We also went to the Holocaust Memorial, and then we went to this one place named Astros. It's pretty good food over there. And this is me introducing
a key speaker at the University of Georgetown, which they came to speak to them about their opportunities they can actually achieve if they wanted to apply for a college in the East Coast. Got to tell them how to fill out some of the forms, as well as tell them about a program they actually have that we can send students over there for the summer. They have to apply in October, and then they get picked, and then they can go for the summer for a whole month, I think. And in the last 2 weeks, parents can actually, or no, last week, the parents can join them, and everything is paid for. So he was letting them know how they can access that if they want to.
And then this is also us taking a group picture with the senator of Oregon. And also we went to the White House. We all took a group picture. Me and Julio recreated another picture, but it's for a different. And this is Brian standing with the dog. And this is us also having a meeting with, but not only we went to explore the city, we also got to learn about our government, how it works. So we had like a congress at the hotels, and so they would separate us into groups, and this was one of our candidates to be our president. And this is them taking a picture with Martin Luther King. Got it.
So someone would like to share what they liked most about the trip.
In general, I just really like visiting the memorials and museums and stuff. It was really interesting to see it in person. And see how the people we do talk about in the classrooms were remembered. I also think that connecting with the different people was really awesome. They were all from Oregon, so it was really cool to meet people that we are really close to and make new friends. To get to know just.
I liked going to the memorials to get a better understanding of like I didn't understand the memorials until I saw them. And so it really opened my understanding, and I did enjoy the fact that I'm a talkative person. Right now, I'm kind of shy, but I'm a very, very talkative person, and total, there was 40 students, all have ties to the Hispanic community or Latin community. I liked being able to talk to them, knowing I wasn't just me and alone, and I made lots of friends.
I like the trip a lot because I also got to learn a bunch about our government. I didn't know a lot, and then when I came back, I knew a lot more than what I used to know. And also it was a fun experience. I got to experience with people I know, and then also meet new people along the way. We also met like, me and this guy, met like 3 people from this one company named Waterworks, and we got a good talk with them.
So all these students, I was really impressed with them. They were able to, I believe, represent Mount Angel to the highest level they could. And as Jordy just mentioned, one of the times we were at the Capitol Hill having lunch, there was hardly any seating. And they took it upon themselves to find seating with these high corporate guys. And they just started chatting about Mount Angel and telling them all about what they were doing there. And so that was really refreshing to see that they were not afraid to approach them and talk to them. Julio also ran for, well, actually, most of them ran for president. They have to be a president of the group. Julio made it to the very last finalist. It got lost by 1 vote. Could have had that election. But to see them just shine, they all did. And I thank you all for allowing us to make that trip and give that opportunity to our students.
Brian and Margarito, are you guys gonna share?
I'll mention, I only lost by 1 vote. The friends I made there, they lost their voting ballot, and I was just like,
Gotta be more organized.
yeah.
I want to also give a shout out and a thank you to Teresa. She went as well, and still was on call for here at Mount Angel while doing all of that and coordinating classes. And so I would get texts from her at like 9 o'clock our time, which means she was still working at midnight East Coast time. And I mean, you guys all know how hard she works, and she never stops. And I'm sure you guys can attest to how amazing Teresa is, but it wouldn't have been possible if Teresa wasn't the amazing human that she is. So I would like to formally thank you for giving us. What was has anybody ever been on a big trip like this before? No? Have you ever been on an airplane before? You've been on an airplane before? Has anybody else? So this was a big deal, across the country. Yeah, was anything really surprising, or I just didn't know, so I went with it? Was it overwhelming? What were, kind of tell us about it.
I think the memorials are really you think they're just regular memorials, but when you get there, you really do feel the sense of memorializing.
Yeah.
I think that was it really got to me, and I really it changed my outlook on things.
Sure. DC is a whole lot bigger. Right, it's
Yeah.
a city. Who liked the metro? No,
It was clean.
I mean, it's kind of a good little system there. Brian, what did you like? Were you yeah on the metro? Yeah? Or you're no, I'll take the Uber. You like the metro? Margarito, food, metro, what were you? No. Would you go again?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And I think maybe the big ask, and now I open my mouth a lot, but I know that we are a small district, and they had the opportunity to go through a grant that was shared to us from the ODE. I believe things are going to change, and so they're still iffy whether they would allow students to do it again, because the money's not really there or the time they have to miss from school. But if the opportunity is ever there, I would like you guys to please consider letting them go again. or if there's somehow some extra money somewhere along the way.
In your pocket.
We do have plenty of students who maybe don't have the means to ever take a trip. And I believe that learning happens outside our walls. And so it would be nice to give them the opportunity to have an experience, whether it's maybe just going to Portland for a field trip with a teacher. I think it's very important.
Next question. You just answered a couple of the questions. How did you find out about the trip? Is there opportunities to go in the future? But now, you mentioned there's plenty of students. How did you pick these students to go? Did they have to apply because you only had so many spots? Like, how did
They
you?
had to qualify under my grant and they had to be high schoolers, so these are our only kids.
So everybody that was qualified was able to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and Teresa did a lot of the legwork. So I work with our migrant program at the ESD and they were like, hey, and we're like, absolutely, we'll make it work. No problem.
You're there.
And I knew she would like, you know, do all the legwork and she did. So here they are, right? Sneak attack. We told the kids first.
Is this,
Then they had to beg their parents.
is this the first year that they've held something like that? Or is this the first year that we've known about the ODE grant?
This
Or
is the first year. They have done it for many years, and that's why now they want to take it away because some students, they see that they are missing school and their grades do get affected by being gone for a week if some of the schools are not willing to work with them. And you have Portland schools where teachers don't really know their students as well and don't know what they're doing. So they're really afraid of grade slipping and not being able to graduate. And so they want to move it either for the end of June or completely get rid of it because there's no funding. It's still undecided. I touched base with them last week again to just kind of see. By the way, it was really exciting. Let me know if we can do it again. And they're like, well, we're still working on seeing if we will be able to fund it again.
They miss 5 instructional days, just for context. So they miss an entire week of school. But if you are a high school migrant student, what are you doing in the summertime?
Working.
You're working. So, you know, if you have to like help support your family or go on a trip, like it's just, you know, it's tough. There's no good answer, but I'm really glad that you guys got to go. It was really, really cool. And I couldn't have like asked for a better group of students to represent it. So I was really, really excited for you guys. Thanks for sharing with us. Do you guys have more questions?
Well, I have a question and it could be no, I've never been to Washington DC. I've always wanted to go and now I'm really gonna go hearing your stories. Were you able to go to any of the Smithsonian? Was there anything that like stood out to you at any of the Smithsonians? Cause that sounds so cool.
That would have been
And I
the
loved it,
Holocaust
so-
Museum that you went
Oh,
to.
the Holocaust is part of that. Okay.
The first Smithsonian we went to was the Smithsonian of Natural History. I believe, what I found most interesting there, at least, was the exhibitions of live insects. I'm not a big insect person, but when I saw them, I was just like, yo. I was just, it was cool because what I was told, some of the insects there are like endangered. I found it interesting. And they're well maintained as well.
And the exhibits are done well. Thank you. That was my question, my curiosity question.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully we weren't that scary of a group to come and didn't think it was that painful. Yeah, you did great.
Good job.
Thank you.
Before you guys leave.
All right, Mr. Shecker.
All right. I gave you all two. We're just gonna go over the white one or the short one. So, hello. We are gonna review the insurance for the school district. We'll just go through this paper, two sides. We are insured through PACE. PACE is a self-insured pool made up of Oregon school districts, ESDs, community colleges, public charter schools. Pretty much everybody's in PACE. There's not really any other options. Oregon School Boards Association and Special Districts Association formed PACE in 2006, so it's been around a while. And PACE is an acronym for Property and Casualty Coverage for Education. The limits that we have are for liability, 10 million. The trust, PACE is the trust, has a self-insured retention of 2 million. And then there's any balance of the claim over 2 million that's paid by a reinsurance company. And reinsurance is getting more expensive all the time. Under the auto policy, the per occurrence limit is 500,000, and then the excess is 14,500,000. So there is plenty of coverage. Under the property, the limit the school district has is 54,400,000 and change. The self-insured retention is 7.5 million, and then the rest is paid by the reinsurance. Renewal premiums are up. Everybody probably sees that with their own insurance. It's just the way insurance, it's kind of upside down right now. Inflation and lots of ice claims, fire claims. There was many school districts that had broken pipes up in the Portland area that caused lots of damage. So something to be aware of. I think Marty's aware of that. Renewal rates, why they're increasing. And as I said, the property was significant winter storm losses. And then the reinsurance companies say, well, we want to raise the rates and we don't want to give you as much coverage. So they negotiate. Liability insurance, they're being hit hard with the sexual abuse claims. We call them SAM claims. The jury verdicts are increasing at kind of frequency and severity. It's kind of scary. So the reinsurance carriers are asking the trust to retain more of the risk than in past years. So the SAMs claim, as I said before, they're being hit hard. We're good. I think we're good, knock on wood. Under the cyber claims are also going up. And I think Scott is working with the staff to tighten up our security and whatnot. And that's kind of mandatory with the insurance now. Flipping to the next page, the earthquake coverage. So the PACE risk pool has an earthquake limit of 450 million. Our deductible is 5%, subject to a minimum of 5,000. The max deductible shall be no more than the greater of, and this is kind of the wording from the policy, no more than the greater of 50,000 or the deductible stated in the deck page. So 5%. So if you have so they weigh, which one's the most, and that's the one that the district would be required. In the event of a severe earthquake, though, since we have earthquake coverage, we'd be one of the first to receive FEMA funds if needed. And I think that's how we paid for this part of it, maybe. Or at least got the modulars where field one is. That's a long time ago before you have to go. So if 450 million is the risk pool, our portion is 10 million, which is not enough because we have, 54 million in coverage. So there's a cap of 10 million. Over the years, I've gone out and looked for other earthquake coverage, and it's very expensive to add some additional. But if you guys want me to, I certainly can do so again. Employment practice, there's an employment practice deductible of 25,000 for terminations if PACE or approved legal counsel is not consulted prior to an employment termination. And Rachel knows this. Other stuff, bond project coverage, so we are endorsing the Corsa construction coverage to the PACE policy. And that's gonna save us some money because then once the project is done, we can delete that coverage. So it's not a fully earned premium. This is for any project that's under 5 million. So if it's over 5 million, we have to go to an outside carrier. The continued services for PACE, they give us the legal service, loss control, safety, liability training, claims management services, and the Safe Schools online. Workers' comp. So it's through Safe Corporation. The experience mod this year is 1.22, which is down from last year of 1.28. Based on our payroll, premium this year is 39,333. We did get a dividend of 6,082. I think Christy saw that coming in. They continue to provide dedicated regional safety consultant, and I think we just met with them in April, right? They came out. So this document is just a breakdown of all the coverages. This year I added towards the back schedules, which show vehicles, the mobile equipment, and I also added the breakdown of the building coverage and contents. So it's kind of a nice item to go to if you guys are curious about that. And I think we're due for appraisal pretty soon coming up in the next year or two. So they would appraise all the buildings on site. So, and these numbers will probably all change. Questions? Thank you.
Great, let's go. The wording for the open budget.
We're just going in.
What was that?
Open.
Okay. We're opening the budget hearings. Agenda. Or the,
I don't have an agenda in front of me, so
okay,
what's next?
no, we gotta approve the agenda.
Oh, approve the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. I'll second. Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Consent items. Lots of things happening this month, which is great.
I move to approve the consent items as presented.
Second, the motion, and second. The discussion, anything cool? No. Okay. All in favor of accepting the consent items as is, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right. License and classified representative reports, anybody on line? No?
Mr. Arndt, do you want to give a report while you're?
Associations, the bargaining went very well. We felt that both parties were very open and honest, and we came away with a really good contract, so we're very, very happy. Excited to spend another year as president.
Great, thank you. Administrator reports. Who would like to go first? You would? All right. Director Gordon.
I actually have a few things. One you've already seen. And they were the best part of the night, so it is only downhill from here with me. My report is pretty short. I have a couple bulleted items. All the things at the top. You already heard about that. Attached, you have, sorry, my stuff is in black and white because I had it printed at home. You have your report card for special ed, you know, you get like the regular district ones, and then special ed comes out in May, because why would they align them? That's just silly. So some things I want to highlight, you've had all of this information already. I've given the information to you throughout the year. It's just now finally summarized on the report. So total served, this is like what we claimed. So on the top left, total students served was 95. That was our census number that we do in September, which was up 10 students from last year. So we were up a little over 10% as far as our total special ed numbers. I'm just going to go down this column on the left so you kind of understand what these percentages are and what they represent and what that means for us from both the fiscal standpoint and from just like a reporting and operating standpoint. That next little section that says regular class 72.63. That is, so when students are served on an IEP, we have something called placement, and it's all on a continuum of like how much time they spend either from general ed all the way to 100% in special education. And that section right there is they want to know how much of their time is spent at least 80% or more in regular class is what they're calling that. And our reported number is 72.63% of our students are spending at least 80% or more of their time in general education. However, the state target is 77%. So we are under that target. And everything below that is going to tell us why. Really, the reason why is the very bottom number, which will actually even be higher next year, is because we have too many kids who are in a self-contained setting, which isn't even a self-contained setting in a school. It's in a separate school, which is our ESD operated behavior classroom, which is OASIS. And when you have in a district our size, which is essentially 100 kids, you are only allowed by the state to have 1 kid percentage wise, and we have 5. So we are 5 times over. So we are way significantly disproportionate when it comes to how the state views that. And the way that OASIS is classified isn't even in this middle column of separate class. So like if we had our own behavior classroom and operated the same way as OASIS, that would be considered this middle one of separate class. But it's not, it's its own building with no access to anything related to a school. So it's considered a separate school or hospital setting. And so it's a totally different federal placement code, which is as restrictive as it can be. So I just want you to understand what resources we have access to and how that affects us from a fiscal and reporting standpoint. And it's gonna look worse next year.
How do we make it not look worse? What are ideas that we could make it? What could we do as a district to make it not look as worse?
We would have to serve all of our kids here, which means we would have to create programs to serve our own kids. We don't have a place to serve those students. They are
The 5 students.
incredibly, well, we have other kids in other like SLP type classrooms, but those particular students have, well, how many years have we been having this conversation, Andy? Before COVID?
A lot.
Yeah, but the kids' needs are getting more intense every year. And they're younger and younger. I mean, it's not getting
Are
any
we
better.
thinking maybe in the future of having something here?
I have run the numbers every year and I've continued to have conversations and I've brought people out to look.
We've begun discussions with the ESD about the possibility of having a K2 classroom here at St. Mary's.
Uh-huh.
The fall of twenty
Fall
twenty-five.
25, yes, I would make sure and get that. clear for
Yeah.
everybody.
So what? So what if we're over?
Well, eventually they will direct our funding
Mhm.
and they'll pull it.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause that's the question. I mean, I
Yeah.
see these numbers and I see they're not syncing with what
Yeah.
we want. But my
I
question.
will
is-
also say that from an actual like realistic perspective, the program is also in McMinnville. And so to transport a 5-year-old with significant aggressive behaviors an hour and 15 minutes one way also just becomes so unsafe that like it's not like possible. Like I've been on the phone with secure transport, like how they transport like criminals. So there's also a fiscal responsibility with that. So do I start running 4 buses? So the cost associated with doing that too. So there is a fiscal implication, right?
Yeah, no, I get it, but
Around
I'm just
that.
asking about this specific report, and so.
It all ties together, and I mean, you know. We've been talking about this for a while, we are just that size of district
Yeah.
where one kid. It's like, do we or don't we? And I don't have a good answer, but you know, I have always been transparent with you guys that like. Our data is what it is, and this is why, and I don't have a good answer for you.
Are 5 kids and that program typical of a small district? Or is it something that we don't have any resources here, so that's where we have to go?
I think it's a combination of both. I will tell you that, for example, the director in Dallas, they normally get 15 move-ins from kindergarten, and they are at 53 this year. We normally get 0 to 2, and we got 8. That's 2 years in a row, and they're all high need.
So out of those 8, how many?
I'm not gonna get into the detail.
No,
because
don't get
it's
into
confidentiality.
No, it's not confidentiality, but so all the kids that moved in, there's the possibility of moving out to another program.
And other kids who move in over the summer.
Okay.
It goes both ways.
So it's just, I'm wondering, has there been discussion at higher up levels? Like, you know, we have Blue Line Career Academy, right? For smaller schools who don't have the resources to provide those programs like the larger districts of the state. Has there been a discussion around possibly, because we're not unique, right? These students are presenting themselves all across the nation. Discussion about how smaller schools can support with lack of resources as well to support these students? Has it been, like, I don't know.
So remember we did that with like the CTP, it was before COVID when we started that. It got really messy because then how do you divide it around who supervises staff, who pays for staff, who pays for what? So really, the way that it comes down to is who's going to own the program and then just do slot costs. It really is just the easiest way to do it when it comes to a fiscal management perspective. And we have space, but we're the smallest dog in the fight, so we don't have the fiscal like oomph to like initiate it without somebody else with the backing to do it. So we have to be really, we have to negotiate just a really slick contract and be really clear about what does that look like for all of those things. Where are we gonna do, like who's gonna pay for the lights and who's gonna do this in kind and who's gonna do the staff? Who's gonna, you know, there's all sorts of ins and outs related to it. Yes, we've talked about it. It's hard when we're the smallest one and we can't support like a full program. We can do a multidisciplinary one. How do you find staff to do that? This has been a complex problem of practice for quite a while.
In my small brain of thinking about it, so what you're saying is we we do have the space, but we don't.
We have open rooms here,
We
yeah.
would have to contract, we would have to have other districts or, buy into creating slots to put the students in there, and we would be the holder of the program. Is that?
That would be one of the things.
One model.
That's one.
One model.
Another model is going through the ESD and they would bring their own supervisor.
Okay, so
in
they bring their
and stuff.
own stuff in, and then, but we would still be the holder of it.
Right, because there gets to be like, how would we even staff it, which like I mentioned last month or 2 months ago, I even tried to just find a teacher. Couldn't even find a teacher, let alone the behavior specialist. What about the IAs? Who's gonna do the training? What happens when all the complaints come down? Like,
I think if it's nothing that's gonna happen overnight at all, but it's something that is to look into. I mean, like creating a program and looking at other options, because somebody said that we're not the only district in this situation, and it's not gonna get better.
no.
So we
no.
have to figure out how we're gonna figure it out,
Without transporting a high
All the way
needs
to-
child to Minville every day.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy
Right.
lift on all around.
And right now, and we have to pay for an IA to be on that bus because they're so unsafe.
Right.
What if it's just, nothing is great.
Well, it just compounds the problem, spending that much time on a bus too.
yes,
Well, they're little, right? They're little, right?
it's a long.
So
road.
I appreciate, being in, you guys have been on this for, we've been talking about this for a really long time. The needs are getting,
Well, it's not getting better. and
Bigger.
The needs are,
and
it's not gonna go away.
it is really hard to tell a parent of a 5-year-old that your child is going to spend 3 hours on a bus every day.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that is the best option that we have right now. So that's where we're at.
So other districts around us have classrooms that we could, instead of going to McMinnville, is there places that are closest for a student to, go to, or it's just not an option?
What my first probably 5 years, I had more students in other districts, and then as the need has increased, they have said
They've shut down?
they have to serve their own kids
Okay.
because they're full. I do have a couple kids that are served in neighboring districts. That's always my first option. And then, and I start with the closest, and then I open and I open and I open, and then it's like, here you go.
The district I work for is,
They have,
we don't have space for our own.
They've
No,
never
it's
taken
full,
anybody.
It's full, but 5 kids.
and Woodburn won't take anybody.
Yeah, I know, yeah, they won't, but because they're full.
Yeah,
But
everyone is.
everyone is full, but
So we have to think creatively about how we're gonna serve our own kids. And I appreciate you guys being thought partners. They are our kids. So,
maybe this is something that we can bring up at a meeting next year.
we can have a work session.
A
on
work
that.
session on it and thinking about it, because we keep on, well, clearly you've talked about it.
It was pre-COVID when we started
And
talking
I
about
was
this.
not for it, but
It was
it's gonna-
before,
It's not gonna get any better.
it was
so
before SIA was
try to
even a
figure
thing.
Something out.
So.
We'll bring some better.
I did not expect all that. That was awesome. Our graduation and dropout rates, don't look awesome. And my, contributing factors that I know, because remember, this is lagging data for, example, the grad rate, and remember, this is just students, on IEPs, is when students, get a GED, that does not count as a completer. If they don't finish on time and they want to, let's say they finish over the summer and they do Grad Alliance, that does not count as a completer, things like that. And so those are things that count against us. And I know that Mrs. Brendan is working really, really hard to clean up some of these things. But I do want to highlight all the things on the left to say, look at all those check marks. We have no significant discrepancies, and there's no disproportionality, and so things are looking really good in that respect. Since
It's gonna be a pain, the top 12%.
I've already taken up so much time.
12% dropout rate, I don't get, so the kids that, they just don't finish high school? Or is that what it is? I'm just, okay, so you're on an IEP.
That's
and
one
then
kid.
One kid? Could one kid, make that?
That's one kid.
Okay.
And that is when we have, like, we had a large cohort last year. Like, normally we might have like 2. And last time we had, I think, 11. So that's actually a really big class.
Yeah.
So it's literally one student.
Okay.
Kevin, I see you nodding. Yeah. So you gotta remember our end size. Not to like discount and not to say we can't get better. We can always get better. I really wanted to celebrate, if you can pull this one up, you can read all the stuff in here, but we've been doing some really great things. I at least want to give an update on our ELD goal for the year. It's all right, you guys have it. If you turn to the one that has like the first little bar graph. So our goal, last year, we had 28% of our multilingual learners grew by at least half of proficiency level, right? So they're on a 1 to 5 scale. This year, we wanted to increase that by 10%. And so if you look at the bar graph, our baseline there is that first one. Our goal is that middle bar graph. But what we did is we actually had that third bar graph. So we went from the first one to the third one, and 46% of our multilingual learners actually met that goal. So that is super exciting. And then we actually had a kind of a double goal. So not only did we want more kids to grow, but we wanted to increase how much they were growing. So by more than half a level. So of that group in that far right bar, so of those, because I know Mark's going to ask this question, got it dialed in, Mr. Brendan, of that group, the 46%, 79% of them grew by more than half a level. So we crushed our goal. Doing good.
Doing amazing. You're not doing good. You're doing amazing. Yes.
We have a really good team. On slide 3, if you look, we had a lot of students do pretty darn great as far as quote testing out, and that's where that shift happens from when they are active ELs into like next year they'll move into monitored status. So quite a few students on the counts there are just plain old student counts. So we had 6 students at St. Mary's and 4 students at MAMS for a total of 10. Considering district-wide, we had 1 student last year. I'm pretty darn proud of that. So again, go team. If you look at the state data, on average, only 8% pass the ELPA on average. So we beat the state average. So good job, Mount Angel. And I don't want to take up more time for my peeps. So you can see what we believe are contributing factors and where we want to head next year. Thank you for being such a great group of people. Okay, sorry. Mark didn't ask a question. Mark always has a question. All right.
All right, but Mrs. Brendan, since you're next up for the packet.
Yeah. So next in the back. That's a good reason. Okay, hi everyone. Good to see you again. We actually only have 150 students in school right now because the seniors are gone. That was a scary number to pull up today. So, but 215 next year is kind of where we're at right now. There may be some that we lose to, they have other plans for high school. Graduation is our big celebration. Some stats around graduation is that there are 26 in the group. There are 26 CTE program completers, which is great. 3 seals of biliteracy, 18 Schmeketa Scholars. Schmeketa Scholars is where students can go to Schmeketa for 7 terms and have their tuition paid for. 28% of the class received presidential awards. That is GPA of 3.5 to 4, I think, and high attendance rate. Oh gosh, those numbers are failing me, 90 or 95%. I think 95% are better attendance. $301,000 of local funds went to our students for their post-secondary experiences. These numbers, as I am learning about graduation and the numbers and what counts and what doesn't, the numbers, Erica and I had a conversation the other day, so that I have different numbers actually on this graduation numbers. So 50 seniors, not 52, 2 of them are in some of those programs where their needs are better met, and they're aging out of those programs. They've already been counted in somebody's graduation numbers, and they're not counting in ours this year. So there's only 50 seniors. It says here 2 are in other schools, that those don't count on this year's numbers. 2, so of the 50 seniors, 2 have completed or are completing their GED. And 1 has opted for a 5th year at JFK to finish his requirements. So those are the numbers and the information that I have so far. Sorry, I'm not angry. My Aaron just came off. So I think our percent next year will be higher. It was 88% this year for last year. I think we're looking at, thank you for doing the math. It's scary doing the math in front of people. We should be around 94%. So that's really exciting. I would love to hit 100% at some point in my career. I think that would just be a big celebration. But this is a really great one too. So credit recovery, thinking about that, students who have failed their classes will need to recover those credits somehow. We start with prevention in September, talking with families about what the options are for credit recovery. We work on goal setting with them, support them. Advisors work as a guide by the side. We have weekly grade checks and work completion time. We bring families along as partners too. We have meetings with them. We send them letters to let them know, hey, far ahead of the end of the semester, to let them know what it means to get an F in high school and that their child has one. We need some help. And then the last weeks of the semester, sending the message, it's easier to just finish those few assignments and retake a 9-week course. And then summer, then if they do end up with failing grades, is going to be this year online. Not for everybody, I'll get to that part in a second, but it'll be online with 2 weekly check-ins with me to make sure they're progressing. If they miss a check-in, maybe I said 2. If they miss 2 check-ins, they won't have access to the program anymore. This won't be for everybody with Fs, because our primary goal is to get students into the classes that they failed and have them retake the actual classes. So that's our first line. Also, we have some juniors and seniors going into junior and senior year with significant credit recovery needed. And so they need to use that online program over the summer. And there's plans to do that. We are I said all that stuff. Okay. Forecasting. There's good representation across all the student groups in our advanced placement classes and dual credit classes. So that's really exciting. Student schedules are nearly complete. I'm still learning PowerSchool and what's in there and what's available and how to build a good schedule. And boy, howdy, if anybody has advice, I'll take it. But we're working on it. We're almost there. For thriving students, athletics, spring sports have wrapped up. I think baseball's doing something called All Stars, All American something. There's still baseball games happening. They did have a great season, and then some unfortunate games leading up to the state finals. Alice in Wonderland, there were 2 shows planned. One got canceled due to some just technical things that couldn't quite be fixed in time. So the second one happened. It went as scheduled. It was a great experience for our students and their families. So much fun to see those students performing. FBLA group, Reed already did a great job talking about that. Thank you, Reed. Guiding Coalition still meets monthly. We finished up our meetings for the year, but we did some planning for the 24-25 school year, reviewed data, did some scheduling, selected our focus for next year. Attendance actually is currently 92.44%, so a little higher than it was last week. Feeling pretty great about that. We're 2% higher, 2+% higher than we were last year at this time. Senior Awards Night was such a great example of the community coming together to celebrate. Didn't expect to get choked up on that one. Senior Awards Night was awesome. It was so good. And good to see our community supporting our workforce development. And for future planning, we are planning to have 3, what we're calling Curly Weeks next year. They're career-related learning experiences. Weeks, and so we'll have guest speakers and we will have service opportunities and career presentations and all kinds of things that tie into career-related learning. We'll have 3 of those next year, and we're just going to tie as much as we can into those career-related learning weeks. I do want to add onto this report that we do have a fierce advocate, John Gooley, and he's building bridges to resources for the welding program, just to make it a real highlight in our school district and to make it a real place where students can get the learning they need to then just right into the workforce or right into an apprenticeship. So he's helping us with donations of money. He's helping us with donations of equipment. He's looking at how we can become a little bit of a self-supporting program, and what a difference this can make to the local economy. That's a really big deal. So just big shout out to him. He's a force. John's great. Your dad's amazing. And for Safe Schools and Departments, bond work continues. I have a schedule for 2024 and 2025. The windows is the big project, and that'll be in the summer of 2025. But otherwise, we have some, fixtures and things that are happening this year too. Questions for me?
I think just a comment. Fantastic job on the attendance rates. They were up every month this year compared to last year. Your graduation rate is improving. Like overall, very successful year.
Thanks.
First year principal at JFK. Very happy to have you.
Thanks.
But yeah, it's fantastic job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And graduation was great.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Very, very good.
It was hot.
But
Great. Great.
it was
Well, it
perfect,
went so-
fine, wise though.
Yeah.
Thanks.
41 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, wow, really? Felt like hours. Okay, thank you.
All right, I get to follow small children driving on buses for long distances and graduation stuff. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. In the last week, we have had the 6th graders, incoming 6th graders visit MAMs, election speeches, high school grad walk, yearbook distribution, PBS celebration, promotion, Q4 awards. Tomorrow, we have the 8th grade beach trip. Friday, we have field day, and Monday is the last day of school. We have connected up with the city. I am a great fan of doing service, both within the school as well as within the community. And the city has given us an opportunity to spread some bark dust for them. So we're going to send about 10 kids over and get that done as well. Do a bunch of service inside of the school the last day of school. We need to be kind to our custodians, to the construction people and the people that do work in our buildings. So we're trying to instill that service within our school community that last day of school. So essentially, we've got service within the classroom. We have service outside of the classroom, second period of the day. And then we have some celebratory things that third period. Attendance 93.16%. That's cumulative for the year. So not likely to change between here and the end of the year. I'd like to see it closer to 94, 95 next year, but I think we've made some good strides there. We tried a different strategy in helping kids turn in their missing assignments. And instead of hosting those that have missing assignments, we looked at a teacher hosting on an assignment that was just due a day or two before. And we contacted parents, got their approval, collected some students, brought them directly into that teacher's classroom, had great success in getting every kid that showed up for that extra tutoring session turned in an assignment. Just It's phenomenal. We are still struggling in getting connected to some parents and getting that approval for them to stay after school. And for some students, it is just not possible. Families run differently, they're out of district, other things happen, sports are getting in the way. It just is what it is. So this is really about building a satchel of strategies and being able to pull them out and say, hey, let's try this one, let's try this one. Looks like we have this type of problems, offer this type of solution until we have enough of them that we can get the 100% that we're looking for. Ran some quick and easy numbers. We at the very first quarter, we had about 40 kids with Ds and Fs. That was significantly down from the fourth quarter of the previous year. Second, third quarter, we were at about 30 kids. I would guess we'll be at about 22 to 25 kids by the end of the year. It's going in the right direction, but we are running into some things that we're going to need to talk a little bit about next year, which is what do we do with the chronically absent kid? What do we do with a kiddo that has some significant medical issues? And how are we making sure that we're reaching out and providing support to families and kids that need those types of supports? We feel like we've got the systems in place now. So now we're looking at the outliers and where are they and how can we reach them as well. Overall participation in extracurriculars was up 81% last year. I think we're at 83 or 4% this year. The dance, the final dance of the year, helped out considerably. We had about 100 kids. It was a total blast. Middle school dance should strike fear in the hearts of just about everybody. But if you have been to one of our middle school dances, that is not accurate for us. Our kids are well behaved. It's less of a dance than it is a stand and a sway, kinda.
Hasn't changed much since I was.
So it's a ton of fun. If you get a chance, we'd love to have you there. Mrs. Art does a marvelous job in putting that together, and we've had some great music and great attendance. So, any questions?
Just comment, another great year, Mr. Taylor. Your attendance rates were up as well. But I appreciate, as you said, your after school program, talent academic support, just a lot of positives over here. Appreciate it. Are you giving?
I am.
Okay.
I'm giving Mrs. French's report tonight under Priority 1 Academic Excellence. The spring after school program has finished. There was a focus on math and reading. The focus in reading was reading fluency and comprehension. The focus on math were numbers and operations and word problems. What she has said is that students grew in all academic areas, but I'm looking forward to seeing the data. How exactly was that? What did that look like? So hopefully a report coming next month on that, because we want to make sure we're investing our limited resources of time, energy, and money in the right things. Under Thriving Students, I really appreciated Mrs. French's take on this month. Instead of reporting on what was happening in the building, she has a counselor's report of what the counselor is doing in the building. And there are different groups that Mrs. Stadley runs, 2 of them based on DESA information, 1 of them under the category of self-awareness. And she's seen a group of students who are working on healthy identity, a sense of purpose, and being able to identify how their feelings impact their actions and their decisions. So that's one group. Another under the category of personal responsibility and responsible decision-making, another group of students who discuss the choices of their personal behavior and their social interactions with others, making constructive choices. Friendship groups abound throughout the building at all grade levels to really focus on decreasing social isolation for students so that we have more students working collaboratively and together. There is an anxiety group for students who may have anxiety due to the presence of triggers or just generalized anxiety. And then finally, there's a relational aggression group where those students work to set goals and move forward, being able to focus their relational aggression at school. So those are the groups that Mrs. Stavley is working with, in addition to everything she does throughout the building, which is a lot for any counselor. Any counselor will tell you that. Any administrator will tell you that that's what happens with counselors. In terms of engaging family and community partnerships, I was very intrigued to see that 2 parenting classes took place here at St. Mary's. Both were focused on birth to age 5, before children come to school, before parents get them to school. So the focus is really on investing in the future, establishing relationships with the parents, making sure that they feel comfortable coming to St. Mary's, and preparing children and parents for a successful start to the school year when they come to St. Mary's. So I personally will be wanting to spend more time with Mrs. French hearing about what was gleaned from that. And then finally, under safe and welcoming schools and departments, Mrs. French gave a shout out to the twice a month 5th grade Eagle News, which is put together a video called Eagle News and talks about the great things that are happening throughout the building. So there's your St. Mary's report. Thank you very much. Right. Yes, great. Budget report.
Okay, we will start with, oh, sorry, you guys can't really see this very well. We'll start with the food service fund. For May, you can see that our total revenue between state and federal reimbursement was up to about almost 44,000, which was a really good jump for us. We have a lot more kids eating, which obviously then in turn gives us more reimbursing money. And so Stacy was really excited about that. And then our expenses for the month were pretty typical month. And then, you know, getting the food supplies was up as well, just because we're getting ready for end of the year and summer. So total expenses and revenue was pretty flat this month. So right now we're trending about where I figured. Right now it's about a negative 34,000, but that's not taking into consideration the extra transfer that we appropriated your last meeting or the meeting before. So we're on trend of where I thought it was going to be. And then she shared with us yesterday at our office meeting that she's applying for 2 grants to improve PSLP at St. Mary's, a cooler, and then a pot at high school. So she's always looking for opportunities to get us money. So any questions on the food service month? Okay, and then here is the one for general fund. As you can see, we got our last state school fund amount, which is right about where I had it calculated. This negative number here in the current taxes, this isn't really a negative number. If you look back in March, it was a much higher number. And it's just because the transfer hadn't happened yet. And so that's where that negative comes from. Interest is still good. It's dropping a little bit because obviously our balances are, you know, going towards the end of the year. We don't carry as much in the accounts with earnings and interest. Then we did get the $37,000 that is ESSER. And then we should see a pretty good ESSER reimbursement next month because we had a lot of our things that we had budgeted for ESSER get paid out at the end of the year. So like our school psychologist and we'll have a career academy, things like that. So you'll see a big jump next month in reimbursements for that. So our total revenue for the month was $793,514. And then our expenses, May is a higher salaries month because we do pay out all our leadership stipends as well as our spring sports. And then benefits and as well is higher because of that. You can see going forward to next month, our transfers, was when we do our big number of transfers. And our purchase services, that 94,000, that's actually gonna be a larger number because we do have, even though it's ESSER funds, it still goes through the general fund, so that number will be up. So I'm still projecting right now around a $2 million ending fund balance for the year. So.
Great job.
Any questions on that?
No, great job. There's 20% difference between revenue this year and expenditures, so great job.
I think I'm up. Is that right? Okay. Right, so this evening, tonight's topic, student enrollment, transfers in and out currently, the current enrollment and transfer requests as they are trickling in for next year, a bond update and a seismic update. So transfer requests in and out for this, in the last month, 0, either direction. Total enrollment, we're down a few more than we were last month, down to 647. Again, always looking at the why behind that. And it's families moving for no particular reason. You saw the slide before. It's not transfers that are asking to leave. It's unexpected life circumstances that are happening. But we need to make a plan. It's time to start making a plan. In terms of planning for the transfer requests that are coming in for next year, there's a real art and science between trying to balance class size and making sure that we are a welcoming community for people that want to come to Mount Angel. And it's tricky at times, and here's why. If you look at grades kindergarten through 6, there's significant impact there on class size because those are self-contained classrooms. Those are not students that move around to other teachers throughout the day. And so we know right now we have at least 38 families that have already registered, which is a high number for kindergarten, let alone those are requesting to come in, and those just haven't woken up yet to what they need to do for registration. And these are roll forward numbers. So first grade is this year's kindergarten, and so on and so forth. Grade 5 next year is already at 27 in each classroom without looking at any transfer requests that come in. Grade 8, however, a small class size. And after talking with Mr. Taylor, we are happy to accept any transfer requests that come in. We haven't received any yet, but we sure would like to. And then grade 9, as you can tell, 66, a very high number. Those red stars mean that if we have transfer requests that come in, they have to wait until August. We have to know more information about who might be moving out.
So what number, in the self-contained classroom, what number are you looking at? Like, I'm assuming most of these have 2 teachers per grade level, right? What number would it be that would?
Trying to stay at 25 for kinder and first grade, 26, and then 27, and 28 at grade 6. And as the worst case scenario, really don't want to go above that. Not wise, and that's not what Mount Angel is about. So that's why it's not easy. There are families that are frustrated right now because they want an answer now, but I just can't compromise.
Would you ever, like, I know the grade school here, because they've got empty classrooms. Would there be a blended classroom of any kind?
Yeah, actually, blends are the decision of St. Mary's. That's not something that is directed by the school district. So if they chose to blend, class sizes would drop even more. There are some classes where we have 6 openings or slots waiting for transfer requests in. If St. Mary's chose to blend, it would be more even all the way across. But that's not the choice that they make.
Right,
There are certainly pros and cons to that.
Yeah. They have many of them at one time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I'm looking at, if the blend was, if we had more students coming in, that would force the possibility of a blend, you know, that's.
There are certainly, what I'll be doing is looking at what trickles in and what really starts to come in August. And I believe I shared this at last month's meeting too. I'm open to creating another classroom if we need to. But if we only get 3 to 7 transfers, it's not likely to happen. But I'll get really excited if we have, you know, maybe we have 13 or 14 kindergarten first and second, we could possibly do a K1 with a new teacher coming in. So I'm open to that. Yeah. But we gotta have the data first, right? Right. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Would you say the transfer requests are slightly up compared to the usual, or are they up quite a bit?
They're the same. I was expecting this rush coming from Silver Falls, and there were like 5 that came in all in one day, and then it's just been pretty even keel. Yeah. There are questions about transfers. Just keep a close watch. Bond update, design bid build, delivery method. The hard bid package for summer 1 went out to bid with bids that were due last week. The low bidder was PNC Construction, quite significantly lower, which is very convenient for us because PNC is working with us also on the progressive design build. So they know our buildings very well. The projects that they're working on this summer include repair of the bus barn roof, retrofitting the bus barn lighting with LED fixtures, and the addition of mini splits in the JFK instructional technology space, which Mr. May will be very happy about. And then the MAMS boiler project, they're ready to get after it. Next week, they're gonna shut that boiler down and drain it and get it cleaned up. And all the materials have been ordered. It's ready to go. For progressive design build, the draft of the guaranteed maximum pricing has been submitted, and OTAC is reviewing that right now, and they're going to share that with us next week. For those of you that aren't familiar with guaranteed maximum pricing, that means the amount that they can charge us based on profit and labor and materials, and they can't go any higher than that. And they were right in the ballpark is what OTAC told me today. So I'll be interested in taking a look at the details next week. Major projects this summer under that contract include replacement of the library windows at St. Mary's, which is why we're nice and cozy tonight. Mechanical repairs at all 3 schools, refurbishment of multi-zone units at MAMS and JFK, roofage and draining repairs at MAMS, investigative work for remaining scopes, including the EFIS. You know, one of the reasons we're not doing EFIS this summer is because we need to keep evaluating deeper and deeper. What if they find all kinds of surprises here behind the windows? We wouldn't have had time this summer to get the whole EFIS project done, depending on what we find. But more investigative work. And then the demolition of the 2 old JFK bathrooms. We're gonna get them cleaned out and ready. Any questions? No? Hey. So we have a new grant for seismic rehabilitation. This is amazing. We have just over $2 million coming our way, specifically for JFK High School. It's proposed retrofit work around strengthening the foundation and strengthening the roof. And the area will be the Northwest classroom section, the band classroom, and the art classroom, and the social studies classrooms. Yeah, that whole nice section there. And I have not received the contract yet. I've only received the notification letter. The contract is going to give all the details about timelines and when we can start advertising things. So I bet by next month I'll have more information for you. Until then, here is a drawing of the foundation strengthening plan. And it probably looks terrible to try and read it up there, but hopefully you have it in front of you. So you can take a look at what's going to be happening in all the different places for the foundation strengthening. And then on the next slide, the roof strengthening and what's going to be happening in all the locations in that. So that's really exciting. And it remains to be determined whether we would want to do any of this new work next summer or not. I think this summer is going to be a really good test for that, to see how Bond and Seismic work together this summer. We'll learn a lot from that experience. Are there questions that I may answer for you? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to board member reports. Anybody have anything? Okay. Next, public forum. Jill, anybody online? The audience, okay. Next, action items, the math book or the math textbook adoption. Oh. Do the what?
Close the budget.
Budget, okay.
For
And I'm thinking, do you have the right agenda?
I think everybody has the right agenda.
Oh, dear.
It's in your email, they sent it to you.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, we're gonna close the budget here. Sorry, I was looking at the incorrect agenda that you put in, that was here, so I'm gonna put that one here. So I'm looking at the,
I'll hide it from you.
the correct one. All right. Mount Angel School District Budget 2024-2025. We need to adopt a budget.
Do all these need to be, can we read all of them at once for one passage? Does it need to be 3 separate votes?
I think we can do it all together.
So I'll go. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Mount Angel School District number 91 hereby adopts the budget for fiscal year 2024-25 in the sum of $30,069,409 now in file in the district administrative office. Be it resolved that the amounts for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024, and for the purposes shown below are hereby appropriated. And it's all there in the document. Be it resolved that the school board of the Mount Angel School District number 91 hereby imposes taxes provided for in the adopted budget at the rate of $4.6268 per $1,000 of assessed value for operations, and in the amount of $1,314,170 for bonds. And that these taxes are hereby imposed and categorized for the tax year 2024-25 upon the assessed value of all taxable properties within the district.
Second. It's just resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I second.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion?
I thought budget process went very well this year. That's
It
my comment.
All right, well, vote. All in favor of adopting the budget?
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. Next. Another exciting thing as well. Mount Angel Teachers Association agreement.
I move to approve the 2024-2027 agreement between Mount Angel School District 91 and Mount Angel Teachers Association.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Do I have any discussion?
I want to commend all parties for a
Yes.
very thoughtful and detailed and collaborative approach to the process this.
I second that as well. All in favor? Passes unanimously.
If I may, we'd
Yes.
like to make this prominent and known and celebrate that this was a win for everybody and for the greater good by signing tonight here at the board, the actual sign page. You want to come up to the table or, okay?
So it's a unanimous decision by the teachers, so felt even better.
Photo op.
hold still. Get up there, board chair. There we go. Look at you guys.
No suit and tie, huh, Kevin?
Nope.
Congratulations again.
All right, last month, we approved the agreement from the classified association, however, due to the agreement with the license now, they also get the same COLA. And anything else that I'm missing besides?
Opt out for insurance and paid holiday.
So we have to approve that in that. Thanks.
I'll go. I move to approve the 2024 to 2027 agreement between Mount Angel School District number 91 and the Mount Angel Classified Association.
Okay. Have a move in second. Any discussion?
Kind of the same comment. Well done.
Yes.
Bargaining all around sides.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right. Discussion items. We have 2 board policies for the first readings tonight.
Correct. We have a new format that we started last month where we will look at the law that has changed first and then look at all of the policies that are associated with that. So criminal records check and fingerprinting. The summary is that it's a newly revised rule regarding fingerprint collection using a statewide vendor that's been identified and an authorized fingerprint collector as well, and removed the option for volunteers to appeal to ODE on a fitness determination issued by ODE. This results in 2 policies that can now be deleted. And just as a reminder, there's no need for the board to approve deletions, but to be made aware of those. And then we have a required GCDA, GDDA criminal records check and fingerprinting. So I would entertain any questions you may have about that. Policy committee looked at this last week.
What does it mean that the ODE fitness determination? What is that for volunteers?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, and I'm happy to get you some clarity around that. I'm imagining it could be physical, it could be mental, it could be any number of things. But I will happily look into that for you. Because I would like to see the law itself, how it defines
Yeah,
that.
because for background checks, it's the way things are done. I don't know if ODE actually has that authority.
I shall get you your answer. And then we have policy JBA GBN, which is the it looks familiar because it's the very same thing you looked at last month. They've just flipped the policy letters around. So now it's JBA GBN instead of the opposite. And that's because a board wants that policy in 2 places. You want the policy, one in the personnel, which all start with G, but you also want the same policy in all of the policies that start with J for students. And that's why it's the very same thing it was last month. Any questions?
Thank you so much for explaining those policies. And the district scorecard that I know that you are ecstatic to share.
I'm feverishly looking for it. I got my board packet all in a mess. I apologize. And I failed to bring it up electronically.
It's in our back.
The last two pages.
But I
But you don't have that.
yeah, well, I do somewhere in here. Please pardon my awkward pause. At one point, it was the last two pages of the full packet, but I. What?
Jill's didn't want to.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jill. Sure.
The least we could do. to provide that, so.
I apologize.
No apologies.
Thank you. Did you send it yet, Jill? Okay, haven't received it yet. This is one of those talk amongst yourselves.
And you
moments.
emailed it to us earlier this
Yeah,
year as well.
I saw that.
So it's in your email, both incoming and outgoing.
Let's see if I can find it now. There we go. There we go. All right. This is the third of 4 reports. We'll come back to the board in a couple of months to finish the year in review. As I've met with most of you now in one-to-one conversation, we've learned a lot about this process, about what we would do the same and what we would do differently as we move forward. What we have is, because we don't have our OSAS final or SVAC final results back yet, we cannot yet color code most of the things that are under academic excellence. We do know that from MAP data, both from math and reading, that we have some indicator that we're on track, but we don't have conclusive data yet to affirm that. We also know, based on what Director Gordon shared tonight, that for our English language learners, they've totally rocked it. Really, really well done on the part of the English language development team. So that's academic excellence. Going down the second column, thriving students. This was something that was a hard handoff, moving from Jasmine, Mrs. Winslow to Mrs. French, and having some disconnect there. So we didn't get anywhere with this at the K-5 level. It doesn't mean that activities didn't happen. It means that we didn't track them. So that's something that we are going to be looking at quite differently next year as we learn. And we know, especially based on the information that Mr. Taylor shared about middle school dances, activities and clubs are alive and well at secondary. In terms of increasing the percentage of students who self-report they feel they belong at school, we had 2 surveys to compare. We had the student experience survey, and we had the district belonging survey. The reason that it remains yellow is because, unfortunately, language matters, and we had 2 sentences that were not quite the same. They were supposed to be the same, so that we could compare the results from both surveys, and that didn't happen. So we know we've done the survey, we've looked at the data, but we cannot provide a final result there on that in green. And our regular attender data and daily attendance data is wonderful, thanks to hardworking administrators and their teams. In the third column, engaging family and community partnerships. Where we got held up this year was that we didn't do sign-ins for every event. And because we did not do sign-ins for every event, we could not properly track the data. So this is one of those learning experiences that we will be modifying for next year. But we know that our community partnerships, such as the welding room, are alive and well. We know that our events that we offer at the schools are alive and well and robust. We did communicate survey results out for staff and parent caregiver surveys. And then in the fourth column, safe and welcoming schools and departments. The welcome walkthrough data was collected and we have a baseline now. We did take a look at the baseline rating data for parent and caregiver experience survey and the same for the employee survey. In terms of strategic actions in the area of academic excellence, not all teachers have completed identifying and mapping the essential standards. That is necessary. That has to happen next fall in order for us to continue to close the achievement gap. Because if we can't guarantee that all students are going after the same standards, showing proficiency in the same standards, the gap will always remain. Therefore, it is on yellow. I do meet with the principals monthly to look at instructional leadership targets. The administrative team down below there does engage in classroom walkthroughs. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. Apologize for that. Oh dear. When did I? Again, this is one of those awkward moments where you talk amongst yourself while your superintendent gets their act together. I apologize. Slip of the finger, unfortunately, it caused that. Let's try this again. And we're back. Okay. Not move so quickly the next time. We were left at 3-week rotation walkthroughs. Do those. Strategies for thriving students. Daily absences will be analyzed, root cause analysis. We've learned a lot this year about what is prohibiting, especially chronic attenders from getting to school. What we have learned from that is that next year we need to develop our own district level student support team that has multiple people at the table from agencies to help us because we can't take care of it. So that's a good lesson that we've learned and how we'll be moving forward. Nutrition services. This is something that Stacy does automatically that she thinks about, but next year she's going to be able to really plan out goals and objectives because departments will be doing scorecards as well. So she'll be able to monitor her own progress, and this might be one of the things that she chooses to monitor. My guess is that putting a salad bar in at St. Mary's might be another thing that will be on the department scorecard. And then also under thriving students, each school's guiding coalition will discuss and prioritize high leverage social emotional learning actions, recommending at least one action for all staff to utilize, and that was completed. Under our next pillar, employees will be trained on the process for accessing and using interpretation and translation services. Yes, this was completed. We'd like to see stronger results of putting into practice what was shared. So we've got some work to do there. And then all schools and departments instituting an inclusion checklist. So that did we arrange for an interpreter for this event? Did we promote the event in more than one language? Those are some of the basics that, you know, if you don't have a checklist, sometimes you take it for granted. So all 3 schools have reported that they've done very well with that. Interpretation will be provided at all events, green, except we don't know what happened tonight with our interpreters, but maybe they thought it was the end of the school year and didn't think we had a meeting tonight, ironically.
They show up Monday.
Did they?
That's definitely what happened, things aren't, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Again, the walkthrough process took place. The facilities team is evaluating and planning for upgrades to bathrooms and lighting. Marty's working very diligently on that. He continues to get after the Energy Trust Board, one of his weekly phone calls that he makes. And then leaders will analyze, prioritize results, and implement corrective response to welcome walkthrough and survey data. The walkthrough data was so comprehensive and so detailed that we need to pare it down next year and make it useful for us to be able to move forward on a couple of things. Not unlike what the strategic plan was a year ago with 140-ish actions. So we've got some things to learn. And it's going to be, I'm very excited to be able to provide a revised scorecard for board next year. I've been able to share that with some of you in our one-to-one meetings. We, again, have learned a lot through this process, but now that we know better, we can do better, and we plan to do that. So what questions can I answer for you?
Excited to see the new version.
Yes. Me too.
All right. Mr. Shecker,
Oh, me.
back again for the Bond Oversight Committee update. Say chair.
Okay, our meeting was on May 16th. At the last meeting, Mr. Joe Fowl stepped down as a chair, but he's going to remain on the committee. I was the vice chair. I assumed the chair position, and then we voted Tommy Reedman as the vice chair. I don't know if he told you that. Anyway. So Megan of OTAC gave OTAC's monthly report, and everything's on schedule, and Rachel presented that earlier. Rachel gave a refresher on the expectations and responsibilities for the committee. We reviewed the charter and the RACI matrix. The RACI matrix outlines when the BOC, which is the Bond Oversight Committee, is to be informed, when we need to be consulted, and when we are to be accountable, such as shortfalls in the funding and budget changes. We are encouraged to ask questions and be ready and available to answer other questions, and reminded that this is a progressive design build project as opposed to a design bid build project. And we need to be ready when budget conflicts arise. So, any questions? And you remember, you were there.
Good job.
Our next meeting is a week from tomorrow. So,
Thank you for
yeah,
agreeing to be.
it's a long wait, but I'm very happy to be here tonight. So,
Joe Fow's wife thanks you as well.
I know, I saw his. I think he's running for mayor or something.
I think.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, thanks, Bill. All right, student representative to the board. We do have our new rep. He will be here next month. He wasn't able to make it tonight due to some scheduling conflicts, and his name is Jung Kim. And he is a very pleasant young man. He is very polite.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He's really smart.
He said he's talked to Reed about the position and stuff like that, so I really look forward to having him on. Yes, Reed, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk about the process and position and all. So really appreciate it.
Really good fit.
Good, good. So we will meet him next month.
And Reed, I know everyone was invited. Thank you. And your letter that you read, the statement tonight was, I almost needed tissues. I was getting teary eyed. Thank you. You're very, very well represented. You, good luck and much success.
Thank you.
So you're moving to Southern California.
Mhm.
It's exciting.
I'm like beyond excited. I'm so ready to like start college and stuff.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, July board meeting, so there may be some conflict as to who's going to be here on July 8th.
I can attend virtually. I had just heard that others may or may not be able to attend on the eighth, so I wanted to do a pulse check.
May not have enough coverage to attend virtually.
Okay,
And my opinion, the reason, may I say, Rachel, the reason, I'm gonna say it, the reason, because we had our one-on-one with me, so I'm surprised. The reason Rachel would join virtually is because she's taking her annual vacation to Mexico with friends.
Oh.
So she's gonna be on vacation in Mexico. And
Never takes vacation.
I like the idea of just rescheduling our board meeting, because it's way in advance. And I would prefer that our employees not feel like they need to not take vacation. But that's just one board member's opinion.
I completely 100% agree with that.
I agree, definitely, yeah, good with that.
Thank you. Of course. So what date works? for
Superintendent Stuckey, yeah, when would you be back from
I
vacation?
will be back the 10th. Ready to go.
How about you, Director Brendan?
I don't think, yeah, we should be back by then.
Wait, is it easier to do it the following week?
Like on the 15th, like on a Monday or no?
No,
10th or 11th?
10th or 11th will be fine. Yeah.
Let's vote the 10th.
Sure.
Is that okay? Mary, any objections?
On when?
The
10th, a Wednesday?
I will say great. I can't commit, but I will say great right now.
Okay,
I can't commit.
Is the 11th better? Yeah. For you?
It might be. That's okay.
we can go the 11th.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's better for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
11th?
11th.
we go the 11th. Perfect, so July's meeting is on the 11th. We'll let the interpreters know.
That's funny.
I'll print an agenda and I will follow interpreters.
Hope you're well rested. The end of the school year. Good luck to all those. Enjoy the last few days.
Yeah.
Of the year. With students. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Moving the calendar.